So welcome to the Intercoiffure series, and I would so like to thank Phorest for all your support, for everything that you've done for Intercoiffure and being a manufacturer partner for us. You've brought so much to the table. And with that, I'm just going to turn it over to you and say thank you. And how many of the, let's see, we've got Sunny, we got Ronan, we've got, how many other people we've got on there from Phorest?
I think we've got myself, Sinead, and DJ, I think.
Yeah, I see you. Got it.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to thank you again for being here. And I'm going to let you introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are and what you do. And then continue with your message, okay? And then I'll wrap it up at the end.
Okay, thanks, Sheila. Yeah, thanks very much for having us on. Always delighted to talk to everyone here in Intercoiffure. So my name is Ronan Perceval. I'm the CEO and founder of Phorest Salon Software. And for those of you who don't know who Phorest are, we're a salon software that's predominantly focused around marketing tools. So things like your online reputation, taking bookings online, and things like that. Obviously, with the rise of COVID, we've also been adding a bunch of stuff around that as well, and things like questionnaires before people book in and things like that, but also e-commerce, and that's something that we're going to talk about today, really, not just from Phorest, but from just about e-commerce in general and some different ways of looking at it, because I think some people only view e-commerce in one way. So if everyone's ready, I'm going to share my screen and sort of talk through a presentation, and then I'll take some questions at the end. Yeah, so if that sounds good, guys. So can I ask everyone just to mute their microphone? And we'll just share my screen. So hopefully you guys can see that. So let's talk a little bit about e-commerce. I think one of the things that people say about something like the COVID-19 kind of pandemic is that it's accelerating a lot of trends that were already happening anyway. So I think one of those trends has obviously been e-commerce in every industry, but it's also one that's been accelerated here because obviously people haven't been able to get down to their salon to buy the products that they want, so they're going to be or have been buying them online. But one of the things, what I wanted to talk to you about isn't so much the kind of standard thing. So what's the standard thing? The standard thing is having an e-commerce store on your website. And we know that lots of the people here watching this will have already done that. And we don't really want to talk about that too much because that's something that has existed for a long time and more people are doing that. The thing I want to talk to you about, though, is what we think is the most important aspect, or something that is much more powerful way of generating sales online for your salon, beyond just having a store on your website or on your salon website. And that's based around the relationship that you have with your customers. So what do I mean by that? So if you think about it, if somebody goes onto your website, they have to search for a product and buy it. But the chances are they can also search on many other websites for that exact same product. And there's no real difference between them doing that on your website or them doing it on another website, or potentially even them doing it on Amazon or in Ulta or wherever. So what's the difference that you offer as a salon for the consumer experience? Well, it's 100% the relationship that your stylist or your salon has with that customer. And that's why when people do buy retail in your salon, they do it because of it. They were recommended to do that by the stylist, or they saw it in the shop while they were, having their experience in your salon. So that relationship is the thing that's kind of unique about your salon when it comes to selling products. And at the moment, when you just go through a normal online store, there is no relationship there. And as a result, the sales that go through those stores, they have increased during COVID, but they're nowhere near close to the levels that can be achieved through that relationship. And that's what we want to talk to you about, is how do you bring that relationship online? So let's look at a couple of different ways that can be achieved. So the first one is, if we're looking at the screen here, what I'm trying to show on the left-hand side is that your consumer or your customer going to your salon website and trying to find a product and buying it. So that's what's happening at the moment with people who are offering e-commerce on their websites. But what's much more powerful is the relationship. And the relationship on one level comes through their history. So you have a bunch of consumers or customers of your salon that have bought products in your salon over the last few years. And it's that history that is really powerful, because that history is based on that relationship. So you know what products that they want. So rather than sending them to your website where they have to find the product they want, would it not be much more powerful to send out emails or text messages to your customers with a link to the products that they purchased before? And we've been doing that in testing over the last few weeks as part of our e-commerce, and we're seeing an 8 to 10x increase in conversion rates in the amount of people, or the amount of products that people are purchasing, against a standard email saying our online store is now available. An 8 to 10x increase. So that means, just to kind of, I know I'm saying what you guys really understand, but that means if you were to sell 10 products by letting everyone know your e-commerce store was available, you're selling 100 products for every 10 you'd sell the other way, by sending them out an actual link, a personalized link based on the history that they've purchased before. So that, why is that so much higher? It's because it's personalized, and it's because it's based on the relationship that that customer already has with your business. So that's how the first step, or how you take that personal relationship into e-commerce, is by doing that. So I'm just going to show this, and by the way, like everything I'm talking about here, these are concepts. They're not specifically saying that this is Phorest only. This is a concept when you're thinking about e-commerce in your business, whatever providers you're using. It's the concepts that you guys should be looking for in order to really maximize the opportunity with e-commerce. So just to kind of give you guys a quick look through here, and again, this is probably stuff that you may be able to do elsewhere, but I just want to kind of show you how easy it is to do. So one of the benefits of doing this from your salon software is that in your salon software, you've already been tracking your inventory. So you track your inventory because every time you sell a product in the store, you're obviously deducting that from the inventory that you have. And so likewise, if you do sell a product online, it can be sold from the same inventory. Okay. So that's why, and your inventory is already there with barcodes, etc. So that you're coming from a position of already having that information for something else and then leveraging it for e-commerce. So that ties in then with the history of what the clients have done in your store. So things like, you'll set up your product, and you can put, you'll just put a photo in it to add it to whatever details you already have with that product. And then you can set up promotions. So it might be, I said earlier, just sending out an email to everybody that's bought a product in the last 2 years. Or you might want to be much more specific, and you might just want to go people who've bought a particular brand. So that would be selecting the product type, or a type, like a shampoo, say, rather than just any product from the brand. So you can do that. If it's a beauty kind of products, it could be based around what type of skin they have and things like that. So you can really get quite granular on it, so that your promotions with those product links can be really, really specific, or they can be kind of more general. And then people will either get that by text message or an email. They'll click on it, and immediately the product is available for them to buy straight away. And the way we do that is that you already have their credit card information probably already from them booking appointments online. So they're going to use the same stored credit card. You probably already have their address because you collected that address before when you're setting them up on your salon software. So from the consumer point of view, they don't have to go to a shopping cart, register on the shopping cart, put in their card, purchase it, any of that stuff. Their card is already stored, their name is already stored. It's the link to the product they already want. So you're just taking away all the friction, and you're using your customer relationship that you have with that customer to take away that friction. And that's the kind of unique thing that as a salon owner you have in your business in terms of all your customers. And so just this, I'm just going to give you quite kind of a look at this, like recommended products as well. So we'll come back to that a little bit later, because that's taking this to the next stage. And then, obviously they'll get a confirmation email, and it looks like this at the moment. And then you, as a salon owner, you're going to get an email telling you that, here's an order and you've got to go and deal with it. So there's kind of two ways of dealing with it. One way is to connect in with something like Salon Interactive, and where the distributors or whoever are actually going to process the orders. And we know some salons are, during COVID, are actually just forwarding their email orders directly to their suppliers or their distributors or whoever it is, and they're fulfilling the order from them. But then we also know that there's lots of salons right now who have loads of time because they haven't reopened yet, and they have time to process the e-commerce themselves. And so they're going to redo the orders. And then within Phorest, if you're a Phorest user, you'll already be using Phorest to manage all your stock. There's a new button then called Online Store. And as your orders come in, you can process them. You can mark them as shipping. You can alert the customer that the product is now being packaged and put in the post or sent with UPS or whoever it is. And then when you're marked it as delivered, you'll mark it as complete, and you'll know as well that automatically deducts it from your overall stock as well, or your inventory. So that's kind of just to give you guys a kind of thought process around how you can really leverage your relationship with your customers to make e-commerce really much more powerful and a factor of 10 higher in terms of how many products you can sell. And then there's lots of other ideas, of which I'm sure many of you have thought about, that if you are still closed, or what could happen, we really don't want it to happen, but down the line we might have to close again if there's a resurgence in the winter time or something like that. So to be kind of ready for that now, or preparing for that, we've seen salons do color care kits that they send out. So that's something that they would do on e-commerce. And then it's a special color care kit for different people, and you kind of create different ones. So having those kind of special products for the shutdown has been incredibly successful for a number of clients. So where do we go next? And so we're using that client.
I have to reschedule. What the hell does he
Hi, sorry. So I thought it was a question being asked there. So yeah, where does this go next? So we're looking at the history. So that's based on what the customer has done before. But how do we sort of take that to the next stage? And one of the things that I think that all salon owners struggle with, and I worked in a salon for years as well, so I at the front desk too. So I saw this kind of in person a lot in my sort of early years in the industry, that you get that there's a every salon struggles with getting all their team to be good at retailing. And how do we do that without the people doing it? How can we like add tools so that they can do that without them it all being kind of all the pressure being on the stylist to do something that maybe they don't want to do. And I think that's where this can really help. So what we're talking about is, again, using that relationship, but taking it to the next stage by adding recommendations. So not just that the customer sees what they've purchased before, but they also can be recommended products. So how would they be recommended product? They'd be recommended that product by their stylist. So let's think about how this would be. So you have in a situation where your customer comes in and you're doing the hair, whatever, you show them a product. If they buy it, that's fantastic, they've bought it. But what if they don't buy it? So what you're doing is on the mobile app for Phorest is the stylist just needs to scan that in on the app beside your appointment. So they use the phone's camera to do that. So all they do is put the product behind their phone, take a picture, of the barcode. It's added to the customer's appointment as a recommendation, and that's it. The stylist doesn't do any more than that. So if they're not comfortable, you know, properly selling that product to the customer, effectively, they're still able to do it by just taking that picture and adding it as a recommendation. So what happens? The customer comes to the desk, you know, maybe she's paying in a cashless way now because of COVID. So she may not be coming directly to the desk. She might be paying straight from the chair, using a stored card. And then she leaves. Okay. And so that day, later that day or the next day, she'll then receive an email saying, you were recommended this product, and by, you know, Lisa, your stylist, and here's a nice video about it, or here's some nice pictures of the product, or here's some information about the product. That will all be emailed automatically to the customer. And then the customer can just buy that by clicking a button, and then you guys can ship it out. So what you're doing is you're basically allowing your team who maybe struggle doing this kind of sales to just scan in the product to their account, and then letting the software look after it from there, and providing a really easy, frictionless way for the customer to purchase that, because their card is already on file, their address is already on file, they're already logged in. So all they have to do is just click a button to complete that purchase, which is much easier for them even to go onto Amazon and find it and do it. And that's another thing that people, is that you have an opportunity to actually be easier than places like Amazon. But right now, the online store that most people have isn't as easy as Amazon, because people are already set up on Amazon with a stored card, and their address and information is already in there. So you have to get them to do all that at the moment on your online store, as well as find the product. And that's why people prefer to just go and use Amazon. But if you use the information that you already have, and you're adding a recommendation, then you actually, and it's been done in a frictionless way, you're actually giving you're giving your customers the opportunity to purchase something in an easier way than Amazon. And I think therefore you're going to see a bigger increase in your sales of e-commerce, and a bigger increase in retail sales generally. Okay, so another thing that I think is really nice, just wanted to show you as well, is so we talked about how when you purchase, or if you're in the salon, you look at a product, you don't buy it, the stylist adds it as a recommendation, you receive that as an email the next day. If you didn't buy it, if you did buy it, you don't get the email. Then if you still don't buy it, it can be added to their Instagram feed as an ad. So that's a really powerful thing too. So sometimes people see, you know, you saw this product in store, you were like, yeah, I am kind of interested in that. It's cool. You get the email, but you're still at that moment, it's further reinforcing it for you, but you're still not doing it. And then, you know, over the next week or so, you see it in your Instagram feed, and it's that which finally pushes you over the edge, let's say, to actually purchase that product. And this is quite interesting, because I'm sure many of you guys understand some of the psychology of purchasing things generally, is that sometimes you need to hear about something between 4 and 11 times before you actually commit to buying it. And so just because somebody has seen something in the store and hasn't bought it doesn't mean that they don't want to buy it. It just means it's just at that moment in time it wasn't right. And so how do you make sure that you can introduce that thing to them another 3 or 4 times? Another way, there's words to describe this, is called retargeting, which is something you've probably heard of before as well in online advertising. And that's basically what you'd be doing here, is you'd be retargeting that customer with this recommended product through lots of different channels. And at each stage, you know, they'll either buy in store, then a further percentage will buy when they get the email or text message, then a further percentage will buy when they see the Instagram ad. And this all just works seamlessly because you already have all this information in your salon software. So yeah, I think that's the end of the presentation there. I hope you guys found it useful. If anybody wants to ask any questions, I think we'll take some questions now for a few minutes. You can unmute yourselves if anyone wants to.
Phorest?
Hi, yeah, Richard, I can hear you.
Yeah, hey, Roman. Yeah, so this is one facet of Phorest. What's the website, contact, all that information?
So it's www.phorest.com. So I'll actually just write it here. Sorry. I'll put it in here so if people are watching the video, they'll see what it is.
Got it.
They can just go there and they find all the other information out.
Yeah, good. All right, thank you.
Great information.
Oh, thanks, Sheila. Yeah.
This is so good. I am just like mesmerized looking at all this and listening to you. I wish we had 2 hours to hear everything that you've got. So I so appreciate you being on. I can't wait. And we've got your approval to share this with all of our members. And so it'll be up and archived. And then we would love to have you back. We're going to do take a little sabbatical in the next few weeks because everybody's reopening. But then we're going to have another series come out. And I would love to have a follow-up and have everybody have time enough to look at this and then come back with a Q&A. How would that sound?
That sounds brilliant. We'd love to.
But we definitely have to do this in the evening.
Yes, we do. Now that we're opened. Yeah, we're having to change our whole thing now because everybody's opening or just ready to open. So,
I'd love to, Sheila. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I always appreciate you guys having us. We always enjoy being the great questions and stuff we get from Intercoiffure members about things. Learn a lot. So.
Very good. Well, thank you very much, everyone. And again, we will process the archival data here and have this online and out to our members by tomorrow morning. So this should be shared soon. And thank you very much to everyone for participating and being here today.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good
luck.
Thank
Stay
you,
healthy.
Cheers.
Bye, guys. Thanks.